Good morning, sir.
A very good morning. So 20 people have come. Okay. So let's have a brief chat of the previous classes, whatever discussions we had in the previous classes. So we'll revise in 1 or 2 minutes, then we'll proceed. Well, till date we have studied certain aspects of pharmacokinetics. We have studied what is pharmacokinetics and what are the different pharmacokinetic processes. We have learned that there are four pharmacokinetic processes. It is absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination. So we have learned that what pharmacokinetics actually or basically deals with, it deals with the movement of drugs in the body. So how drugs are moving once you take any drug, either by any route of administration. We have discussed at length various routes of administration. So how the drug is being absorbed, and from after absorption, the drug is moving from the site of at the time of absorption, the drug is moving from the site of administration to the systemic circulation. This process is known as absorption. And once absorption is completed, the drug is moving through the blood to various body tissues, to various organs. And this process was called as distribution of the drug. And once distribution is happening, simultaneously the drug is being metabolized also, because the drug encounters various enzymes, various environments where it can be oxidized, where it can be reduced, where it can be hydrolyzed, or it can pass through any kind of enzymatic process, or it can go, it can face biodegradation, or it can any sort of metabolic reaction may happen with the drug. So the third stage was called as biotransformation or the metabolism of the drug, because the drug is being biologically transformed. It is biotransformed. And the parallel, the drug is also being excreted to various body tissues. The principal excretory route is the urine, is the nephrons, and it is excreted by urine and also by stool, by saliva, and so many other routes also. So let's have now 27 people are there. Okay, we won't be waiting further. So I'm sharing my screen, and in the last classes we had discussed the nature of biological membranes. We had discussed that all these pharmacokinetic processes, for all these pharmacokinetic processes to happen, the drug has to move through the biological membrane, whether it is absorption from the site of administration to the systemic circulation. The drug is actually crossing so many layers of cells, and each cell is having for crossing the drug from one cell to another, the drug has to cross two biological membranes, one on the outer and second on the inner side. So the drug has to cross these biological membranes, and not these biological membranes, you know that they are not very simple. They are highly selectively permeable. They don't allow movement of any kind of drug. They filter, and only selected drugs are allowed to cross through the biological membrane. So after the absorption is there, all the drugs are made available in the systemic circulation, and from the systemic circulation, the drug is being distributed to body organs and the tissue. Please mute yourself and listen carefully. Please mute yourself and listen carefully. There is some background noise. Please mute all of you. So, what is the concept? There is a concept of central compartment and the peripheral compartment. What is the meaning of central compartment? When you take any drug, say for example, you are taking any tablet or injection, and after absorption, once absorption is complete, whatever fraction of absorbed drug is there, it is made available in the systemic circulation. And from systemic circulation, or what is the systemic circulation? It is the blood. And so from blood, it is being distributed to various body tissues. So the blood is considered from pharmacokinetic or the mathematical point of view for considering the calculations, what amount of blood, for what amount of drug has been absorbed, and what amount of that has been distributed to various different tissues. So for mathematical modeling or for mathematical considerations, we are assuming that the the systemic circulation comprises the central compartment of the body, where all the drugs are being made available for distribution, for metabolism, for elimination. So this figure is showing the central compartment. This red figure is showing the central compartment. So here, this is the route. This is the drug in dosage form. Either it is in tablet or injection. After absorption, after release, the drug is made soluble in the solution. If it is injection, there is no issue of release and dissolution, and the drug is being absorbed from the site of administration to the systemic circulation. Now, this process was known as absorption. This was absorption. Once absorption is completed, all the drugs are being made available in systemic circulation. Okay, and these drugs, once they are made available in systemic circulation, they'll bind to plasma proteins, as we had discussed in the last class, that albumin is the major plasma protein, to which majority of the drugs bind. Also, globulin also offers binding sites for some of the basic drugs. So we'll discuss these things in detail once we'll study the plasma protein binding and all these things. So the free drug, whatever fraction of free drug is there, this free drug is only moving. The bound drug, plasma protein bound drug, it will never escape the central compartment. It will remain in the central compartment. Are you getting what I'm saying? So this plasma protein bound drug is practically inactive, is practically pharmacologically inactive. It will not do anything. It will not show any pharmacological response. It will not be metabolized also. It will not be eliminated also. It will not be distributed also. This plasma protein bound drug will not leave the central compartment. And what is the central compartment? The central compartment is the blood. So the free drug is moving from the central compartment to different body organs. Say, for example, if it is liver, if it is kidney, there may be some other compartment, like if it is spleen. Well, writing by mouse is not easy. So in the mathematical modeling of pharmacokinetics, these organs where the drug is actually getting distributed, these are known as peripheral compartments. These are known as peripheral compartments. These are known as peripheral compartments. Peripheral, because they are outside the they are in the peripheral region. Peripheral compartments. See. Okay. So, and this was known as central compartment. Central compartment, CP you can say, or this was peripheral compartment. So, are you getting what is the concept of central and the peripheral compartment? And from peripheral compartment, now this equilibrium, forward and backward direction movement, this shows this one or this one. This is showing the dynamic equilibrium when the free drug is moving from the central compartment to the peripheral compartment. So distribution is getting in the forward direction. Once this concentration of the drug in the central compartment and concentration of the drug in the peripheral compartment. Now, once they are getting the equilibrium state, the dynamic equilibrium, that means movement of drug in the forward direction and movement of the drug in the backward direction, they are balanced. So once the dynamic equilibrium is reached, there is no further movement of the drug, or you can say whatever forward movement is there, it is being compensated by the backward movement. So this was the stage of distribution. And in the peripheral compartment also, there may be certain tissue proteins to which these drugs, this free drug may bind. And here also, there may be bond fraction of the drug and there may be free fraction of the drug. And only this free fraction of drug will get back into the central compartment, not this bound drug. So this plasma protein bound drug or the protein bound drug, they are some form of stored form of the drug. They are getting stored inside the body. So whatever drug you are taking, you can say that some of the drugs, they are getting stored in your body in different body tissues. Say for example, if you take any tetracycline, if some child is taking tetracycline antibiotic, those tetracycline antibiotics are getting deposited in the teeth. Or you can say that if any child has taken a lot of tetracycline antibiotics in childhood, his or her teeth may be yellowish. Why? Because those tetracycline antibiotics are getting deposited in the teeth, and they're replacing the calcium part. So there is storage also. So during the distribution, there is not only distribution of the drug, parallel there is storage of the drug also. And the free drug, which is not being stored, which is there, it is being able to get back into the systemic circulation. It may be biotransformed, it may be metabolized, it may be excreted through different excretory routes, through urine, bile, feces, sweat, saliva. So these are the different pharmacokinetic processes. Whatever drug you have taken, it is being absorbed, distributed, metabolized, and eliminated from the body. Permanently, it will not be retained inside the body for lifetime. It has to be eliminated. But there are certain drugs, for example, organochlorine pesticides. They are being accumulated in your fatty tissues, in your adipose tissues. And if you are very bulky, if you are having a lot of adipose tissue, you might be accumulating those organochlorine pesticides or the fat soluble drugs also. So once you lean, once you lose your weight, once you lose these adipose tissue or fat, these will be again coming back into the circulation. एक बहुत मोटा आदमी है और say for example 150-200 kg का बहुत फैटी है और डाइटिंग करके वो एकदम स्लिम ट्रिम होना चाह रहा है, तो उसके एब्जॉर्ब एडिपोज टिश्यू में जो भी ड्रग्स, फैट सॉल्युबल पेस्टिसाइड्स, जो भी चीजें जो डिपॉजिटेड थी, which were inactive, they will come back in the circulation और उसका रिस्पॉन्स हो सकता है. So dieting has to be done carefully. It has to be done under medical supervision. इस टाइप के कोई symptoms तो नहीं आ रहे हैं, like that. We won't be discussing these things because we'll be deviating from our main syllabus. So coming back, what we were discussing movement of drugs or the how movement is happening. We have seen that movement of drugs through by either it is by absorption or distribution or metabolism or elimination. The drug has various biological membranes or the cell membranes. And cell membranes form the barriers between aqueous compartments in the body. We have seen that, we have visualized that blood is the central compartment and different organs, say for example, liver, kidneys, spleen, if it is heart or any organ, skin or anywhere tissue, those are the peripheral compartments. So we presume that the cell membrane or the biological membranes, they form the barriers between the peripheral compartment and the central compartment. And if the drug has to move from the central compartment to the peripheral compartment and vice versa, the drug has to cross these cell membranes or these barriers. Now, an epithelial barrier such as the gastrointestinal mucosa or the renal tubule consists of a layer of cells tightly connected to each other so that molecules must traverse at least two cell membranes, inner and outer, to pass from one side to the other. We have seen that whatever, say for example, there is ultrafiltration of urine. If you have taken any drug and after 1 or 2 hours it is coming in the urine. How it is coming in the urine? The drug might have been absorbed. After absorption, it might have been crossing to the kidneys, and from there it may be moving to ultrafiltration. So the drug might have moved through various layers of cells, epithelial cells or like that. So depending on the chemical properties, the drugs may get absorbed from the GI tract by passive diffusion, passive facilitated diffusion, active transport, or endocytosis. In fact, there are so many drug transport mechanisms, because you know that your cell membrane is selectively permeable. It will not allow movement of any kind of drug. So there are different kind of transport mechanisms by which these drug molecules or these biomolecules can cross from one part of the cell membrane to the other part. And we'll be discussing in this particular class in coming 10-15 minutes the different drug transport mechanisms. So we have discussed this one, and this is the simplified, in fact, the flow chart from the this is the drug in doses form. Say for example, what is the doses form? If you are taking in tablet, the tablet is being made soluble, it is dissolving, and once it is dissolved, it is being absorbed. After absorption, it is moving to blood or plasma, and it may be binding to plasma protein bound or free drug. The free drug is moving to different body organs by distribution. The free drug may be biotransformed by different metabolizing enzymes. The free drug may be excreted in urine. So these are the different pharmacokinetic processes that we have seen before. Well, as shortly we discussed that there are so many drug transport mechanisms. What is the most important and what is the most easiest way of drug transfer is the passive diffusion. So what is passive diffusion? If we see this diagram, in passive diffusion, it is passive process. What do you mean by passive? Passive means it is not using any body energy. For movement to happen, no energy involvement is there. You don't have to apply any force. It is passing through the cell membrane of its own, by pressure of its own, along the concentration gradient. What is the concentration gradient? Say for example, if this is the cell membrane, and these are the drugs. These are the drugs D. These are the drugs. So, and this is the outside of the cell membrane, and this is the inside of the cell membrane, and the drug has to cross this cell membrane from outside to inside. So what is the concentration of the drug outside the membrane? These are 4 molecules, and inside there is only 1 molecule. So there is concentration, there is difference in concentration of this drug outside the cell membrane and inside the cell membrane. So what is the concentration gradient? Concentration gradient, here it is 4, here it is 1. So concentration difference or concentration gradient is equal to, it is 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. So this effective gradient or force will be applied, and by this force, whatever higher the concentration gradient, if it would have been 40 minus 10, this gradient might have been 30. If this gradient is higher, so the flow of the drug will be, or the speed of movement of drug will be higher. If this gradient is slow, the speed of movement will be slower. So what is the driving force for diffusion or the passive diffusion? It is in fact the concentration gradient. Whatever is the difference in the concentration of the drug across the cell membrane, by that force only the drug is moving. And what will happen? What will happen if this gradient becomes, when outside becomes 2 and inside becomes 2? So this movement will stop. there won't be any movement, or there will be movement, equal movement in both the directions, you can say. So overall, there is no movement. And the second, which kind of drug molecules? Now we can, based on the lipid solubility of the drug, we can classify drugs in two categories. One, those which are highly lipid soluble, and the second, which are insoluble, which are not lipid soluble, which may be water soluble but not lipid soluble. So only lipid soluble drugs can cross the cell membrane through passive diffusion. So coming back to the theory aspect, the drug diffuses across the membrane in the direction of its concentration gradient, the membrane playing no active role in the process. In fact, during passive diffusion, there is no role of the membrane. The membrane is not taking anything. Membrane is simply becoming passive, and the drug is moving. The membrane is not offering any resistance, because the membrane is also lipid-like in nature, and the drug which is moving is also lipid soluble. So simply the drug will move. It will, the membrane or the cell membrane will not offer any resistance. So it is the most important mechanism for majority of the drugs, because majority of the drugs, if they are lipid soluble, they will be moving by this mechanism. And the lipid solubility is the important factor. A more lipid soluble drug attains higher concentration in the membrane and diffuses quickly. Also, greater the difference in concentration of the drug on two sides of the membrane, faster is its diffusion. So this was the diffusion part. Now the second is filtration. If we see this diagram here, not this one, this one, yes. So this is the part of this is the part of the cell membrane, you can say. In fact, this yellowish part is the cell membrane. This portion is cell membrane, and this is the one side of the cell membrane, and this is the other part of the cell membrane. So we have shown in the diagram, there are two kind of drug molecules. One are red circles, these red circles, and other are blue squares. So these red circles are lipid soluble drugs, and these blue dots are polar drugs or non-lipid soluble drugs. They are water soluble. So these lipid soluble drugs, they will pass through the process of passive diffusion. They will pass through the process of passive diffusion. But these non-lipid soluble drugs, they cannot cross the cell membrane as it is, as per se. For passage of these non-lipid soluble drugs, they need some channels. So this is that channel. Here, cell membrane is broken. The cell membrane is broken by some, who can answer? Who will answer? What kind of breakage is there? Prince, what kind of breakage is there? Cell membrane is a porous structure. This is a pore. What kind of pore is there?
Intrinsic protein?
Yes, there are certain intrinsic integral proteins are there. And those integral proteins are having holes or the apertures. And in fact, that aperture or the hole is providing the passage of the drug, because that is an empty hole that is being submerged with the fluid, and from that fluid, these non-lipid soluble drugs will be moving. They will be moving from here to here. So this process is in fact not diffusion. Diffusion is movement of the drug across the cell membrane, and if drugs are moving through the, filtration, they will be moving through certain channels or pores. In fact, this filtration is also passive in nature. Passive means they will not require any energy expenditure from the body. This diffusion is also, this filtration is also occurring through the concentration gradient. Say the concentration of these blue dots to one side of the membrane is, say, for example, 40, and on the other side count if it is 10. So 40 minus 10, by this pressure it is 40 minus 10. So based on this concentration gradient, these non-lipid soluble drugs will be moving through these pores or these channels. You can imagine filtration. If you are filtering something, if you are filtering tea, so those your tea is moving only through pores. If you have any non-porous structure, the tea will not pass. So filtration, for filtration to happen, there are two important things. First thing is drug molecules will pass through channels of the pores, and the second, it will cross along the concentration gradient. So filtration is also a passive process. So there are two passive processes. One was diffusion and the second was filtration. I think now you have understood the difference between this is the second diagram, which is showing the cell membrane. These are the phospholipids and these are the integral proteins. So from here, from the lipid bilayer, this is the lipid first layer, lipid second layer. So from lipid bilayer, diffusion is happening. And how it is happening? This is lipid soluble drug. So when it is coming here and when it is coming here, this lipid soluble drug is getting dissolved inside the cell membrane, because अगर oil में तेल में दूसरा oily substance डालो तो उसमें dissolve हो जाता है और बाहर में ये निकल जाएगा और बाहर में फिर drug ये बाहर ऐसा निकल जाएगा. So this process was diffusion, but for filtration to happen, it requires aqueous channels. So these are the channels from this is happening. We'll discuss these things later on. So coming next to the next process, now there are certain drugs which are not passing either by diffusion. There are certain drugs which are not crossing through diffusion and not by filtration also. There are certain drugs, say for example, certain vitamins, whatever you are taking, vitamins or certain trace minerals, they are in very less concentration. These vitamins are in very traces, very little concentration in your food. And your body cells may have greater concentration, but your body requires these vitamins. Your body requires that these vitamins, whatever you are taking in your food, should get absorbed. So here absorption is not along the concentration gradient. It is against the concentration gradient. The concentration of this vitamin B1 is in your body maybe 40, and in your diet maybe it may be 1 or 2, but your body wants to absorb it. So for that, your body has to spend energy. Your body has to spend ATP. And your body has to send special messengers, or your body has to utilize special carriers to absorb it. For that, our cell membranes, they are having integral proteins, and those integral proteins, they are linked with ATPase system. They are linked with ATPase system. Now, what are these ATPase system? That after consumption of this ATP, or the energy will be provided to this carrier, and this carrier will drag these molecules from outer to inside. You can see here how it's happening. It has changed its shape by pressure of energy, and this molecule has been absorbed from outside to inside. So this may be active process. This may be passive also. If the concentration of the carrier outside, concentration of the drug outside the cell is, say for example, 10, and the concentration of this drug outside the cell membrane is 5, and concentration of the drug inside is 1. Our body does not require energy to track it. It will move by concentration gradient. Only our body has to offer specialized carriers, because this may be a large molecular size structure. It may not pass through these structures. So our body has to give the transport only, or the carriers. Or if the concentration is lesser, our body has to offer energy. So this third type of transport is carrier mediated transport. You understand what is carrier mediated? These are the carriers. And this carrier mediated transport may be active transport. That means our body has to spend energy. It may be passive transport also. That means our body does not need any expenditure of energy by. So this this carrier mediated transport is also known as specialized transport. So when the rate of movement of molecules across a membrane is greater than accounted for the operation of conventional laws of diffusion, the existence of a carrier mediated transport can be suspected. What it says that now there are certain natural laws. So for example, if anything is moving at its own by diffusion or by filtration, there are certain laws or by which you can say that this is the speed. If the speed or if the movement is very fast, you may suspect that it's not happening naturally. It's not happening of its own. Something is involved. Somebody is drawing these things forcefully, or somebody is doing some mischievous thing. Somebody is facilitated. Otherwise, he may not write by this speed. So, when the movement of drug is not following the conventional laws of diffusion, you can suspect that some carrier-mediated transport is involved. So, such systems are well known in physiology, you can say glucose uptake by erythrocytes. Whatever glucose you are taking, your red blood cells, they are taking up by carrier mediated. Your plasma membrane of the red blood cells, they are having a lot of these carriers, and they are taking up the sodium ion expulsion from the erythrocytes. All these are carrier mediated. So if we see this specialized transport, some carrier is involved, and carrier is taking the drug from one side of the plasma membrane to the another side. It may involve energy, it may not involve energy, based depending upon the requirement or the situation. So some carriers is involved. अगर एक ट्रक से ट्रांसपोर्ट नेपाल बॉर्डर से इंडिया आ रहा है और वो ट्रक जो है कैरियर है, ट्रक खराब हो गया, पंक्चर हो गया, तब तो नहीं आएगा। या ट्रक को हाईजैक किसी ने कर लिया, ये खराब हो गया, तो दिस कैरियर कैन बी ब्लॉक्ड, दिस कैरियर कैन बी सैचुरेटेड। एक ही ट्रक है और इधर से जाने वाले बहुत सारे लोग, तो पहला ट्रक फुल हो गया, आने दो, लौट करके फिर जाना। तो this transport process can be slowed down, can be blocked also if we can block this carrier. Now here is the scope for pharmacological manipulation. We can block these carriers because these carriers require opening of its aperture and closing of the aperture. We can lock these carriers by different antagonists or different drugs. We'll discuss these things in later on. So this process, carrier mediated transport process, is competitive in nature. Some competitive or the antagonist drug may compete with this drug, that I will block your absorption, you cannot move if I am available. So these kind of things are involved, and the carriers which allow passage of ions, or they are known as ionophores. Now, as shortly we said that there are two kinds of transport mechanisms, specialized transport mechanisms. One is active and other is facilitated diffusion. So active carrier mediated transport, in active movement of drug definitely occurs against the concentration gradient, and when you are moving anything against the flow, if you are swimming against the stream of against the current of the river, you have to apply a lot of energy. And if you are swimming along the current of the river, you don't have to apply energy. Simply you have to maintain your balance and you will be moving along the flow of the river. So for movement of any drug against the concentration gradient or against the flow, you have to apply a lot of energy. So that is why it is active transport, and this process can be inhibited by metabolic poisons or metabolic antagonists. As I have said that this is a saturable process. it results in selective accumulation of substances to one side of the membrane, because these carriers are simply, they are taking up from one side irrespective of the concentration gradient, and they are picking up. So obviously the concentration of that particular drug on one side of the membrane will be much higher, because carrier is actively transporting these drug molecules. And there are so many examples. If you are taking any poison, or if some poisonous substance is there which body doesn't want, it has to be eliminated. Even the concentration is insignificant, the body will actively secrete in the urine. So there are a lot of examples we'll discuss. And obviously, if the drug is ionic in nature, if it is positively charged, so one positive charge across the, say for example, this is the plasma membrane and this is the drug molecule. So normally our cell membranes, they are neutral, they are not charged. So charge to both sides, you can say, are same. So overall charge balance is there. So if this drug is actively absorbed from here to here, what will happen? This plus charge will come here. So this side of the cell membrane will be 4 plus, and this side of the membrane will be 2 plus by movement of 1. So there is charge imbalance also. So what we were discussing, that in active transport, in case of movement of ions, there may be generation of pH gradient, because whatever, if there is movement of hydrogen ions, if these hydrogen ions, these positive ions, if these positive ions may be hydrogen ions. So if positive movement of only hydrogen ions are going on from one side of the membrane to another side, what will happen? There will be generation of pH gradient. So the pH of the membrane of the across to one side and the other side, they can change. So these consequences can happen, and we'll discuss what will be the after effect of these consequences later on. So this was the active transport. In this figure, you can see that this drug molecule, this is the outer, this is one side of the membrane where one drug molecule is there, and this drug molecule, the cell wants to absorb, or the cell wants to take up this drug molecule. And in the inside, on the other side of the plasma membrane, the concentration of this drug molecule is much higher. There are 4 molecules of the same drug in the inside, and there is only 1 molecule of the drug at the other side. So how the drug will absorb? Normally it will not move, because the drug has to move against the concentration gradient. And normally, if you don't apply any energy or force, it will not happen. And the second thing, you have to give some carrier. So this is the carrier molecule. This is the carrier molecule, you can say. And this carrier molecule, this drug will bind to this carrier molecule, and this energy will be applied. ATP will break down to ADP, and energy will be released. And this energy, by use of this released energy, this carrier will move to reverse direction, and this drug will be released to other side of the membrane. So these kind of mechanisms are there. These are, you can say, if this drug is, say for example, any drug D. So this is D transporter, you can say. So there are different kind of transporters based on the chemistry or the chemical name of the type of drug. These transporters are named. There may be sodium transporter, there may be potassium transporter, there may be sodium potassium ATPase, maybe there are so many. We'll discuss a lot of examples in forthcoming classes. So the second type of the carrier mediated transport is facilitated diffusion. The second example, what we had said, that if the concentration of the drug on the outer side of the cell membrane is higher, and in the inside of the membrane it is lower. The body does not need any energy expenditure because it will move along the concentration gradient. Simply you have to provide carriers, and the drug will move from this way to this way, you can see, without applying any energy, because it is moving along the concentration gradient. Concentration, what is the concentration gradient? It is 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. So by this gradient, it will be moving. So this process is known as facilitated diffusion. It is also diffusion, but this diffusion is not happening here. It is happening by certain carriers. Got it? So apart from these mechanisms, there are certain other processes also. If there are some large molecules or large bodies are there, which needs to be absorbed, which the cell wants to take up, because there is certain size of the pore of the carrier. The carrier also cannot transport very large size molecules. So for that, there is phagocytosis and pinocytosis. And how it will happen? The cell membrane will in fact invaginate. If this is the large size molecular substance is there and the body wants to take up, what will happen? The cell membrane will invaginate in this fashion, and after the invagination, this will be broken down, and this will be released inside the cell membrane as membrane bound substance is there, like this. So this process is known as endocytosis, because there is movement of these drugs in the form of endocytes to the cell. And this endocytosis may be, if this is the solid molecule, this will be known as phagocytosis. If these are liquid droplets, then this will be known as pinocytosis. So these are the different kind of drug molecules, drug movements, which are operating in different sort of mechanisms. And if you have any questions, we can discuss at this moment. Anything? Please unmute yourself, and whatever questions or confusions are there, you can ask. Because in the yes, yes,
sir, filtration of facilitated transport है क्या sir?
Yes, please. Filtration and
facilitated transport, sir.
No, facilitated transport is different. Filtration, these are in filtration, the drug movement is happening along the concentration gradient with the help of filters or the pores available in the cell membrane. So it is simply, you can say, some sort of diffusion. In some books, the people they are writing diffusion also, but it is filtration, better to define. In facilitated transport, you have to provide any additional facility, not only these filters. And what are these additional facilities? These are the carriers. Say, for example, you have to cross Bagha border. You need permit and you need some permission and all these things, only you can go. And if you have to cross any unrestricted border where there is no restriction is involved, simply if boundary size is say for example 1 meter, if you can cross, you go it. No filters or carriers are required. So a facilitated diffusion is carrier mediated diffusion, and this filtration is not carrier mediated. It's happening by the natural pores of the cell membrane. Just they are being classified for the purpose of, for the convenience of your study. Okay. Yes, please.
सर उसमें भी तो इंटीग्रल प्रोटीन का मतलब फिल्ट्रेशन में होता है सर.
Yes, please. आशीष जोर से बोलिए.
हाँ करण सर, उसमें भी मतलब फिल्ट्रेशन में सर इंटीग्रल प्रोटीन का यूज होता है ट्रांसपोर्ट में.
नहीं, फिल्ट्रेशन में इंटीग्रल प्रोटीन्स नहीं इन्वॉल्व होंगे. फिल्ट्रेशन में जो नॉर्मल पोर्स हैं उसी से फिल्टर होगा सो होगा, और वो कैरियर्स नहीं होंगे. फैसिलिटेटेड, जहाँ पे फैसिलिटेटेड वर्ड है ना, वहां पे कैरियर्स इन्वॉल्व होगा. कुछ फैसिलिटेट कर रहे हो, जैसे रोड क्रॉस करना किसी बूढ़े आदमी को, तो उसको हाथ पकड़ करके ले जाएंगे तो वो फैसिलिटेटेड क्रॉसिंग हुआ। और नॉर्मल आदमी क्रॉसिंग, जेब्रा क्रॉसिंग देखा, लेफ्ट राइट क्रॉस हो गया, दोनों में डिफरेंस है। यस प्लीज। होमवर्क नोट कीजिए। जितने भी टाइप्स मैंने ट्रांसपोर्ट मैकेनिज्म्स का बताया है, इन सब के एग्जांपल्स डिफरेंट बुक्स से आप नोट करेंगे कि पैसिव डिफ्यूजन किस कौन कौन सा ड्रग पैसिव डिफ्यूजन से होता है, कौन सा फिल्ट्रेशन से होता है, कौन किस टाइप से होता है। इन सब के जो आपके फिजियोलॉजी में या फार्माकोलॉजी में जितने एग्जांपल्स हैं ये नोट करेंगे। नाउ दीज एग्जांपल्स आर बीइंग आस्क्ड इन जीआरएफ क्वेश्चंस। एग्जांपल्स तो क्लास में हम बहुत ज्यादा डिस्कस नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि उनका कॉन्सेप्ट आपको समझा दें, मतलब समझा दें, और ये ऑलवेज टीचिंग टू वे प्रोसेस है। हर चीज मैं ही बताऊंगा आप सिंपली सुन करके याद हो जाए, ऐसा नहीं पॉसिबल है। कंप्लीट अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए आपको भी पढ़ना होगा, और उसके बाद कुछ कंफ्यूजन है तो डिस्कस कर सकते हैं। कोई पहले का कुछ क्वेश्चन अगर किसी का है तो पूछ सकता है, अदरवाइज वी कैन डिसकंटिन्यू।
सर एक्टिव ट्रांसपोर्ट में दो टाइप है, प्राइमरी और सेकेंडरी एक्टिव ट्रांसपोर्ट। तो सेकेंडरी एक्टिव ट्रांसपोर्ट में दो सॉलिड को हम कैरियर के थ्रू पास करते हैं, जिसमें फर्स्ट ड्राइविंग सॉलिड होता है जो कि कटायन होता है, सोडियम पोटेशियम और ये कैल्शियम आयन हो सकता है। तो सर उसका रोल नहीं समझ में आ रहा है।
ये कहाँ से
और वो
सर
हरपाल सिंह संत।
अच्छा, फिर से बताइए क्या क्या दिया है उसमें।
सर सेकेंडरी एक्टिव ट्रांसपोर्ट में ना दो ये सॉलिड लेता है, कैरियर प्रोटीन दो सॉलिड को पास करता है, जिसमें फर्स्ट सॉलिड ड्राइविंग सॉलिड होता है जो कि कोई भी कटायन हो सकता है, सोडियम पोटेशियम और कैल्शियम। और दूसरा है जो कि हम लोग ड्रग को ट्रांसपोर्ट कर रहे हैं।
ओके। और कौन?
तो सर मुझे ये इसका रोल नहीं समझ में आ रहा।
अभी जितना बताया ये सिंप्लीफाइड वर्जन है, ठीक है। और इसके अलावा बॉडी में इतना सिंपल सारा ऑपरेशन नहीं है, काफी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है। नाउ दीज ट्रांसपोर्टर्स, ये बॉडी में 100 to thousands to millions of type of transporters हैं। अभी आप जैसे जैसे फार्माकोलॉजी पढ़ेंगे, डिफरेंट ट्रांसपोर्टर्स के बारे में पढ़ेंगे कि सॉल्यूट कैरियर एसएलसी फैमिली का ट्रांसपोर्टर है, और ये ट्रांसपोर्टर्स इनफैक्ट हैं क्या, ये प्रोटीन्स हैं, और डिफरेंट प्रोटीन्स हैं। इसी पे सारा रिसर्च हो रखा है कि अगर मान लो कि एक ड्रग है जो जैसे डोपामिन डिफिशियंसी से पार्किंसंस, तो अगर हम किसी तरीके से उस डोपामिन का न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर का रिलीज को या फिर उसके एक्सेसिव सिक्रीशन को या कहीं हम उनको मैनिपुलेट कर सकें, तो ये सारा मैनिपुलेशन आप ट्रांसपोर्टर लेवल पे कर सकते हैं। जैसे कि अगर टाउन में कोई टेररिस्ट घूमा तो पुलिस क्या करती है, सारा चेक पोस्ट जो है टाइट कर देती है, जहां से ट्रांसपोर्ट हो सकता है, भाग सकता है, उनको ब्लॉक कर सकती है। तो हमारा ड्रग का बॉडी में कंट्रोल, उनका इफेक्ट, एक्शंस का कंट्रोल हम इन ट्रांसपोर्टर्स को गाइड करके कर सकते हैं। हम ट्रांसपोर्टर्स को ओपन कर सकते हैं, ट्रांसपोर्टर्स को ब्लॉक कर सकते हैं। अब आपने जो प्राइमरी सेकेंडरी बताया ना, उसी के सब टाइप्स हैं, थोड़ा और डिटेल में पढ़िए। और क्वेश्चंस जो है व्हाट्सएप पे मैंने जितने भी क्वेश्चंस थे उनको रिप्लाई कर रखा था। आप उनके जो भी बुक में लिखा है उसका स्नैप लेकर के उनको अंडरलाइन करके आप भेजिए, फिर मैं जिस रेफरेंस पे लिखा हुआ है वो बताएंगे। ठीक है जीनत? हाँ, यस प्लीज। और कुछ है
सर? if the concentration on either side of the membrane are same, तो सर उस केस में डिफ्यूजन होगा या फिर पैसिव ट्रांसपोर्ट होगा?
उस केस में डिफ्यूजन जो है वो ऑलरेडी पैसिव ही होता है। पैसिव मींस नो, आप पैसिवली बैठे हुए, मतलब कि कुछ एक्टिविटी नहीं है, तो जहां पे कोई एनर्जी इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं है उसको पैसिव बोलेंगे। तो वो कंसंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट नहीं है, सेम है, तो कोई मूवमेंट नहीं होगा। फिर भी अगर आपको चाहिए वो ड्रग तो आप एनर्जी खर्च कीजिए, लाइए उसको खींच करके। नहीं समझा? अगर दोनों साइड, अगर वो ड्रग पहले से डिफ्यूज हो रहा था, जब कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट दोनों साइड सेम हो गया, कॉन्सेंट्रेशन डिफरेंस दोनों साइड नील हो गया, जीरो हो गया, तो कोई फर्दर मूवमेंट बंद हो जाएगा। जैसे नल से पानी गिर रहा है और एक दो वाटर टैंक है, दो टैंक है, दोनों टैंक को पानी से कनेक्ट, एक बीच में वॉल से कनेक्ट कर दिया, एक टैंक में पानी ज्यादा है तो एक से दूसरे में जाने लगेगा, दोनों में बराबर हो जाएगा तो पानी जाएगा क्या? नहीं जाएगा। या माइक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स लगाओ तो बोलो कि जितना उसमें जा रहा है बैकवर्ड भी उतना ही मूव कर रहा है, तो नहीं होगा। फिर इक्विलिब्रियम रीच करने के बाद, इक्विलिब्रियम है ना, बराबरी हो गया, अब कोई बड़ा नहीं है कोई छोटा नहीं, तो फर्दर मूवमेंट नहीं होगा। और कुछ कल के क्लास में हम लोग अब ड्रग के मूवमेंट के लिए जो मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर्स, अभी तक आप कोई भी ड्रग टैबलेट खाते हैं या इंजेक्शन लेते हैं तो वो एब्जॉर्ब या मेटाबोलाइज या डिस्ट्रीब्यूट या एक्सक्रीट होने में उसका कॉन्सेंट्रेशन इंपॉर्टेंट था कि कॉन्सेंट्रेशन ग्रेडियंट के अलॉन्ग मूव कर रहा है, नहीं तो बॉडी को एनर्जी खर्च करना होगा, पैसे खर्च करना होगा। और सेकंड थिंग था कि लिपिड सॉल्युबिलिटी, अगर वो ड्रग हाईली लिपिड सॉल्युबल था तो इजीली मूव कर रहा था, लिपिड सॉल्युबिलिटी नहीं है तो प्रॉब्लम होगी। क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम होगी? लिपिड सॉल्युबिलिटी नहीं है, अगर लिपिड सॉल्युबल नहीं है तो वो ड्रग क्या होगा? पोलर हो सकता है। पोलर होगा मतलब वो वाटर सॉल्युबल होगा, आयोनाइजेबल हो सकता है। अगर कोई ड्रग आयोनाइज हो जाए, हमने टैबलेट खाया, वो वाटर में डिसॉल्व हुआ और जाके आयोनाइज हो गया, सोडियम अलग हो गया, क्लोरीन अलग हो गया, या कोई ड्रग जो है कैटायन एनायन में डिसोसिएट हो गया और उसका कैटायन एब्जॉर्ब हो गया, एनायन बेचारा बड़ा है साइज का फंस गया, तो फर्दर कैटायन का मूवमेंट दूसरे ड्रग का तो नहीं होगा, क्योंकि वो एक फर्दर ग्रेडियंट, एक चार्ज ग्रेडियंट बनने लगेगा। इधर एक साइड जो है नेगेटिवली चार्ज ज्यादा होने लगेगा, एक साइड पॉजिटिवली चार्ज होने लगेगा। जैसे मूवमेंट होगा वो मैग्नेटिक फोर्स से उसको वापस खींचना चाहेगा। तो हम लोग अगले क्लास में पीएच पार्टीशन हाइपोथेसिस पढ़ेंगे, या आयोनाइजेशन का क्या रोल है एब्जॉर्प्शन पे, कैसे, और अगले क्लास में एब्जॉर्प्शन को हम लोग कंप्लीट करेंगे। एब्जॉर्प्शन में और भी कुछ चीजें छोटे मोटे बचे हुए हैं, तो फार्माकोलॉजी के बुक से आप फार्माकोकाइनेटिक्स का एब्जॉर्प्शन पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर दीजिए, एब्जॉर्प्शन खत्म कर लीजिएगा और डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन स्टार्ट कीजिए पढ़ना, क्योंकि एब्जॉर्प्शन एक क्लास और डिस्कस करेंगे, इसके बाद टाइम नहीं दे। फिर हम लोग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स, प्लाज्मा प्रोटीन बाइंडिंग और दूसरे जो है उनको डिस्कस करेंगे। 1 से 2 क्लास डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होगा, 1 से 2 क्लास मेटाबॉलिज्म, 1 से 2 क्लास मैक्सिमम एलिमिनेशन। मैक्सिमम टाइम दे सकते हैं हम लोग, बिहाइंड टाइम से पीछे चल रहे हैं तो थोड़ा मेकअप करना होगा। और ये चलिए ठीक है, फिर इफ देयर आर नो क्वेश्चंस, थैंक यू। और
सर,
हाँ बताइए
सर ये जो डिफ्यूजन्स में जो होता है वो स्ट्रक्चर स्पेसिफिक, इसका क्या मतलब
फिर से
कहने
बोलो,
का है? और
फिर से बोलो।
जो सिंपल डिफ्यूजन में जो बात हो रहा है,
हाँ।
वो आता है एक वर्ड जो इट इज स्ट्रक्चर स्पेसिफिकली,
अच्छा
लो
ठीक है,
स्ट्रक्चर स्पेसिफिकली, और एक्टिव में आता है स्ट्रक्चर स्पेसिफिकली। इसका क्या रीजन है?
दोनों तो एक ही हो रहे हो,
कहने
एक्टिव
का।
स्ट्रक्चर स्पेसिफिकली क्या क्या
नहीं
कहना
सर,
चाहिए?
ये डिफ्यूजन में जो है ना सर,
हाँ
ये स्ट्रक्चर स्पेसिफिकली नहीं होता है इसमें,
हाँ, कहने का मतलब
या
है
फिर बोल सकते हैं लो है।
अच्छा ठीक है,
जबकि एक्टिव ट्रांसपोर्ट में जो है मतलब हाई है, या फिर स्ट्रक्चर ये स्पेसिफिकली इसमें रहता है।
नहीं
मैंने
समझ लिया। जिस भी बुक में लिखा है, आपने पढ़ा है, उसमें ऑथर ने ये लिखना चाहा है कि डिफ्यूजन जो है वो नॉट स्पेसिफिक इन स्ट्रक्चर, यही ना कहने का मतलब। स्ट्रक्चर
यस
उसके
सर,
केमिस्ट्री को डिनोट करता है। अगर वो फैट सॉल्युबल है, उसका कुछ भी स्ट्रक्चर, छोटा हो, मोटा हो, बड़ा हो, कोई भी ग्रुप लगा हो, हाइड्रोक्सिल ग्रुप हो, कोई कुछ भी हो, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं।